was great.
Guys, we gotta talk about Missilis. That's what this is about. I started playing Nikke at the 2.5 anniversary. Let's look at, since that time, how many Nikkes has Missilis produced? And I'm not talking about the story, I'm talking about how many Nikkes we've gotten as new units. Wikipedia, here we go. Alright, so we'll set the filter. And I just want you to count with me. Look at this. We're going to compare this, okay? So 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 30 units. 30 units total, okay? Let's compare that now. Let's look at Tetra. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40, 44, 47 units. That's a big difference already. Okay, now let's go with Elysian. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40, 41. We've already got a huge discrepancy. What is going on with Missilis? Why do we not have more units coming out for Missilis? Okay, so let's look at this. Let's organize this. Let's look at Missilis first of all. Where's the opportunity here? Okay, so first of all, what are we doing with Sin and Guilty? Why, these are, everybody loves Sin and Guilty. Everyone's talked about Epinel as well. Like, Epinel, I looked today, she doesn't even have a skin. Look at their character design. She looks dope. Everybody loves Sin. Sin has a skin, that's great, but there's like no alternate units for Sin, there's no treasured item. Same with Guilty. Does Guilty have a skin? Guilty has her summer skin, that's right. Where's the love for Missilis? Missilis has a bunch of people that have gone to the rehabilitation center. You've got Crow with criminal. Mori. I'm not going to call her a criminal, but she went to the rehabilitation center. Quincy. Criminal. Guilty. Criminal. Sin. Criminal. Quincy. Escape Queen. Criminal. And then you've got the three goofballs, Drake, Laplace, and Maxwell, who are still waiting on their upgraded units. What did we get this year? I've been playing now for almost a year in Nikke. How many units did we get from Missilis? Let's count. We got Mihara. There's one. We got Elik. There's two. How many more units? Let's count. I'm trying to count. Okay, I don't see any more. 2 units in a year? And I keep going back to the advice section. I don't mean to do that, but am I missing any Missilis characters that I didn't pull for? No. The only thing I'm missing is Kilo. We literally got, in almost 12 months, we've gotten 2 Missilis characters. Now, you know what? Let's count Elysian. Let's count how many we got from Elysia. Or not Elysia. Elysian. I can't talk right now. And first, I will say I'm missing. I haven't pulled for some of these, so I'm missing. Look how many. I haven't even pulled for these characters. These are all came out this year. Look at this. 4 of them right there. Okay, let's go to Elysian. How many new characters in the last 12 months? I'm thinking 2.5 Annie onward. Okay, we've got 1. Technically Mihara, but I'm not even gonna count Mihara. Okay, let's just go with, or no, wait, hold on, Missilis is still on there. She's technically overspec, not Elysian. I don't know what I was thinking. She's got like a double thing there. Okay, so here we go. And just make sure I've got this set correct. Alright, so Vesti. 1. Diesel 2. Brid 3. 4. Sora. 5. Emma. 6. Delta. 7. K. 8. Arcana. 9. Yunwa. These are just the ones that I pulled. How many do we have that I didn't pull? So there's 9. And I didn't even get these. 10, 11, 12, 13 units. Elysion got 13 units. Missilis had 2 in the last year. Like, what are we doing? Where is the love for Missilis? Is it because Suen is just so, like, bad of a CEO she can't produce anything? What about Jian? Jian practically built Mihara, and she blew up Uni. Like, let's go back to this. How many of these are just rejected, dejected, like, Nikkes that have just gotten no attention or they have some issue with them? Oh, Uni, another criminal. Technically, Mihara, maybe technically you could say criminal. Look how many of these units have either done some sort of crime, been involved in some sort of a crime, or have gone to the rehabilitation center. And then you've got the 2 flower girls. You've got Trina and Flora. And there's a lot of people that love Flora. These units don't get any attention, though. We've got the kind of technicians and the researchers. We've got the rejects, and we've got the goofballs, and we've got the ones that have, like, you know, criminal history. And then you've got, like, Trony. You've got gosh, who else? I mean, the big, like, what I was going to say about Trony is, like, Trony is cool, but she's a technician, right? Like, same thing with Mana. Mana's cool, but she's a technician. There's nothing wrong with that, but you got to give them an upgrade. It's like all these, there's a lot of Nikkes here that some of them is like, I feel like Shift Up doesn't want to give them upgrades. Or we're just like, we're waiting. Like, we're waiting for Laplace and Maxwell and Drake, okay. We got Eleg, okay. But what are they doing with this set of Nikkes? Like, how am I supposed to... How are you supposed to build a strong team? Because, like, you're going to invest into what units? Like, if you're doing, like, Tribe Tower, right? What are you building your team on? You're building your team with probably Ein, Tia, Naga, for sure. You've got Trina, I guess you could use, right? You've got Mihara. Maybe Senti? Like, none of these are usable. Mana, maybe. Maxwell, maybe. But, like, what are you doing? Like, my team right now for Tribe Tower is Ein, Leader, Naga, Tia, and Mihara. What are they doing with Sin and Guilty? So many people love Sin and Guilty's character design. And then we pull them out of the rehabilitation center. They've been in some side events, but we've done absolutely nothing with them. I don't understand that. We're still waiting. I think they're going to do something in the story with Uni. I hope that they do. And then poor Epinel. Like, Epinel is cool. She's not, like, obviously she's not like Mihara. Right? Totally different character design. But they could do some really cool stuff with Epinel. With her skateboard, with her kind of like neon tech, like, neon meaning the colors, techno, like kind of techno, kind of like technological, I don't know. You know, like they could do some sort of theme like that. They could make her really cool, have like they could do something. They could do anything. This character literally has just been like, so many people are saying like, what about Epinel? Like, look what they did with Anne Miracle Fairy for Christmas. This is great. This is awesome. Look at that. Limited character, super cool design, great story. But, you know, and then she's useful in PvP. But just look at the difference. Let's jump over to Elysion. Look at this. Let's take off Missilis. Like, when I look at this, like, what can I build my team with? Boom, Treasure Home. Boom. Masked Anchor. Boom. Rappy. And these are all... These three right here, at least. And Vesti. Boom. Like, these are all limited... Or not limited. Like, extra characters, right? That's not the originals. You've got D-Killer Wife. Boom. You've got Brid. Diesel. Both good in their own right. Privity got upgraded. Treasure item. Right? Like, even Helmakwa Marine is not bad. You've got Emma. Okay. Delta, they did a great job with. K, it was a disappointment, I'll say that. Okana's not bad, pair with Isabel. Like, there's just a level of strength and the amount of, like, attention that these units have gotten versus Missilis is just crazy, right? And then we jump over to, let's look at Tetra. What did Tetra get this year? Because we counted... There were 13, right? 13 new units in the last 12 months. 13 new units in the last 12 months for Elysian. And 2 for Missilis. I think Tetra got 3 new units in the last year. Moran got an upgrade, that's great. What else? They've done nothing with Viper forever. Like, Tetra seems a little bit neglected too, but not as bad as Missilis. I mean, at least we have... Like, you've got the bunnies, right? You've got Blanc and Noir. Blanc gets this awesome gacha. Noir gets neglected. I don't understand why. But... We got Bunny Aid. That was a big improvement. We had Bunny Milk. Big improvement. We got treasure item for Bay. We have treasure item for Moran. I mean... But how many new units? They didn't get that many either. I think they got 3. But how many strong units does Tetra have? But I mean, let's look at what am I looking for? Let's look at the ones that I don't have real quick. So I just get on track here. So I don't have for Tetra. I don't have some of these, but those are like winter units. I don't have Velvet. I think Velvet's really the only one I'm missing. Velvet's not bad either. Velvet like kind of completes the win team, right? So you got 1, 2, 3. Boom. Those 3 right there, pretty strong. You've got the bunnies and you've got Rouge. That's 6 already. Right? Moran, let's count that as 7 with the upgrade. It's pretty strong. What are we waiting on from... Yeah, I mean, you've got Alice too. I mean, that's like... And then you get treasure item Exia. That's not bad either. There's a lot of options with even Tetra. Brady. It's okay, right? But I don't understand why there's such a discrepancy with Missilis. I feel like there's so much opportunity there, but they focus so heavily elsewhere. I mean, what could they do, right? What could they do? Where's the opportunity here? Because, I mean, just look at this. Look at this. Like, it's 1, 2, 3 rows. Okay, let's scroll to Tetra. How many rows? 1, 2, 3, 4 whole rows. And this is just for what I have, right? Elysian, I don't even have 4 units. And 1, 2, 3... 4 rows. And I'm missing... Yeah, I'm missing like 4 units. So there's another 4 rows. Like, Missilis is like an entire row behind the other 2. Okay, so where's the opportunity here? Let's go through these, like, and just kind of look at this. Obviously, we'll just ignore these ones. Crow, everyone says they hate Crow, but I actually think Crow is great. And I'll tell you why. Because the fact that everybody hates her makes it basically means that she has, her character development is really good. Like it's probably the wrong way to say it. Her design, that's the word I'm looking for. She was designed very, very well because it just shows. Like, everyone can't stand Crow. There's very strong reaction, rightfully so, to Crow. That means she was a very good design. I don't know if they can make anything out of her. I don't know if they can do a treasured item. They probably won't because it's just not going to appeal to enough people. I think it would be sick. I think if you had like a treasured item, or if you had you can pull some character like a new unit, right? From Crow. What would they call that? Can't remember the actual word for it. Like, but like you got E-Leg, normal version, then you've got E-Leg, Boom and Shock, right? They did that because E-Leg's popular. I don't think they're going to do that with Crow. They need to do it with Mori. Okay, spoiler alert. You can pause the video or leave right now, but in Chapter 42, we already know Mori's going to get training directly from Grave and Cinderella. So there's one. Upgrade Mori. Okay? Why not? Admi? What are they going to do with Admi? Probably nothing. Quincy? They already gave her one, right? So Quincy's already got her upgrade here. She's not bad. Julia? Julia's basically been neglected. There's still some opportunity there. They could include... Why don't they do this? Why don't they throw Julia into Anisa's concert and have her do some role that just, you know, improves her or something, right? Like, there's some opportunity there. Will it be popular? Not really. Mori's pretty popular. Like, that's the thing I don't get. Like, if they're gonna make another character for Mori, like, why? And hold on a second. I need to turn off my screen's gonna change color there for a second because I have a dimmer for nighttime. But like Julia, okay, so Julia's not super popular. Okay, Trony. Trony's not that strong. What are they gonna do with Trony? Uni's already been destroyed by a Jin, basically. Unless they bring Uni back. Like, the only character so far that we can see that's going to get an upgrade, there's Mori. There's one. Mihara already got it. Epinel, she's been ignored forever. And they probably never touch her. E-Leg already got her upgrade. Flora? Some people really like Flora, but is she strong? She's like a flower girl. How are they going to upgrade her? Mana? How are they going to upgrade Mana? She's a researcher technician. Pepper? She's a doctor. How are they going to upgrade Pepper? Okay, now here's the real opportunity. Sin and Guilty. We either need a treasure item Sin and treasure Guilty, or we need, just like they did with Quincy, we need the same thing with Sin and Guilty. We need a new unit. So there's 3 areas of opportunity right there. 1, 2, 3. Maxwell, Laplace, Drake. There's 3 more. That's 6. There's no reason that they're not going to do this. This is going to happen, just like they did with Absolute Squad. We will get those units. Okay, so there's 3 basically guaranteed, and 3 with a lot of, you know, maybe you could say even more is probably a guaranteed new unit because of the way the story's going. So let's say that there's 4. And they already did with Quincy, so there's no reason not to do with Sin and Guilty, right? There's 6. Senti? What does Senti do? Senti builds things. Same with Leader. That's why they haven't done anything with him, because how are they going to make them stronger? These are all of these people, they do like kind of jobs that none of the other Nikkes do. They're not the fighting Nikkes. And if they are, they go rogue and then they go to the rehabilitation center. That's what we're seeing here, right? Or they're students, right? You've got Ein, who's a student. Ein? Maybe Ein graduates. Like, maybe Ein graduates and becomes stronger. Okay, so there's some opportunity there. We get a upgraded Ein. Or treasure Ein. That would be kind of cool. But I don't know how much that's going to appeal to anybody. So what have you got? You've got, what did I say, 6? And let me not go out of order here. So yeah, we're at 6 with Laplace. They already did Tove, right? No, they didn't do a new unit for Tove. They just did a treasured item. So if they can do treasured item with Tove, they could do treasure item with some of these other. You could do treasure Mana. You could do treasure Senti, which they already did, right? I forgot. Senti got her treasure. But let's just look at new units, because that's the whole point of this. Like, where's the opportunity for new units? Mori? Sin and Guilty. Maxwell, Laplace, and Drake. They're those main fighting units, so there's 6. And E-Leg already got it. They could definitely do Tia and Naga. There's no reason not to do Tia and Naga. That would be super popular, obviously, so there's no reason not to. Mihara already got it. Trina, lots of people don't like Trina. And what does Trina do? Trina is like the environmentalist Nikke that likes to, you know, be in nature. How are they going to upgrade her to make her stronger? They're probably not going to. This is the problem with Missilis, is like you've got all these things thrown together that just don't apply well to power upgrades and upgraded units. Like, yeah, you can do treasure item, but look at what they did with Senti. They literally broke her treasure. They broke her for PvP. And not in a good way. I don't mean she's broken. I mean, like, they bricked her. They bricked her for PvP. Like, if you upgrade Senti with her treasure item beyond, like, the first level or something, like, she becomes worse for PvP. How do you do that? How does that happen? Treasure items should take these units from, like, maybe a D tier or a E tier or a B tier, and they need to go up at least, like, 2 tiers. If they're already up at like A tier, then push them up just 1 more. If they're down really low, push them up 2 more tiers. Senti literally went backwards. The one unit that went backwards, where is she from? Missilis. So where was I at? So with Laplace we had 6. Where's more opportunity? Tia and Naga, there's 8. We already ruled out Eleg's already got it. We already ruled out Trina. Leader, how are they gonna make her stronger? How are they going to make Leader stronger? Again, she's a technician. She builds stuff. I could see Jackal getting a new unit just because she's very involved in the story with Viper and now EH. But, like, how likely is that? I think it's a fair chance. Okay. So where are we at? 6, 7, 8, so that'd be 9. And I think they could do something with Ein finally, you know, graduate or move past like the high school, whatever stuff, like not high school, whatever the MMR school stuff is. And so let's say that there's opportunity for 10. Okay, so now if we combine them all, right, and we think, okay, if they pushed Missilis as hard as they pushed with Elysian this last year, what would we get? And I'm just thinking, like, okay, not any like unknown Nikkes that are brand new that we don't know about. Just what we have. What would we have? We would have new Mori. We would have upgraded Drake, Laplace, and Maxwell. We'd have a new version of Sin, a new version of Guilty. We'd have a new version of Ein, new version of Jackal. And am I missing any? I might be missing 1 or something. I said Mori already. That's basically it. Oh, Tia Naga. So what are people going to be excited about? That's the next question. You look at that as a big picture and you think, okay, what are people actually going to be excited about if all of them got an upgrade? Okay, we could say Tia Naga, people would probably love new Tia Naga. People would love new Sin Guilty, I would think. And people would also probably be excited about Maxwell, Plus Drake, potentially Mori. Are people going to be excited about a new Jackal, a new Ein? Maybe some, but is it going to be a big money maker? That's the thing, is like, that's everything in this game for all this stuff is usually driven by what they think is going to make the most money. Missilis is not going to make them a lot of money. And they already, I mean, there's already people that weren't happy with Mihara's, you know, Mihara got her upgrade and people didn't like the skin, or people didn't like the, what's it called? The banner, right? The background animation for it, the burst animation. I think they could have done better with the burst animation as well. I think she has a great gotcha skin. But, I mean, you just look at this and it's like, Missilis has been so neglected. And I mean, and Elysian is just taking all of the new Nikkes. Like, that's another thing I don't understand why. Look how many new Nikkes Elysian has gotten. So if you want to make it stronger, like, one way to do it is to use old Nikkes and improve upon them. Or you just create new units. Elysian's been creating new units. Because look, I mean, we got... And they're the ones that I don't have because I'm not pulling for them. But we got... I just want to make sure I'm not missing any here. Arcana, brand new unit in the last year. K, brand new unit in the last year. And then I'll jump to the ones I don't have because that's going to be more pertinent here. But she was a redo or just a new... Sora, there's a third one. Brand new unit. Okay, so there's 3. Now the ones I don't have... The ones that I don't have, 3. And then we got 4, 5. So 5 units. If they can do Soul Lean, so here's the thing. Let me finish my first thought, though. That other thought, though. So Elysian is just making, like, they're just making new units more often. I mean, like, not the company Elysian, but like Nikke is just taking Elysian and putting new Nikkes into it, basically, right? Into what you can pull for. 5 of them in the last 12 months. So that's one thing that they're not doing with Missilis. Like, have they done that with Missilis? I don't want to forget my other thought there, but I probably will, but it's okay. But have they put new units into Missilis? I mean, let's look at this, right? Who's new? Mihara? No, Mihara's not new. Eleg's not new. Quincy's not new. Am I missing any of them? 0. 0 of them are new Nikkes that have been introduced in the last year. Okay, let's check Tetra just for comparison. How many new Nikkes? Tetra might not have that many either, but I don't remember. Let me check. Fade has hers, yeah, so that's not new. I mean, in this respect, it looks like Elysian just gets all the attention. All the new units are Elysian. I mean, besides Pilgrims. Look at that. I don't see a single... So Tetra and Missilis just get no new units. They get redos. But why are they not producing new units from Tetra? Like, is it just the fact... Like, is Ingrid just doing way more work? Is that what it is? Like, Mustang has his entertainment Nikkes, and he just makes them more entertaining. He doesn't create anything new. Like, we're gonna get Summer Anise, okay, but that's not a new Nikke. We're gonna get a new Neon, but that's not a new unit. So why, and like, what is it? Is it like Suen is just a terrible CEO? I mean, we already know that. But is it just like Suen is just not creating anything new? What about Jian? What about anything? Anything at all? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Because I think if it was all about money, you can make attractive Nikkes for any of these companies. And they would make you money for Shift Up, right? Or for whatever. Like, why are they just neglecting Missilis, and in this respect Tetra as well, and putting all of it into Elysian? I don't understand. Alright. I've talked for a while. I've literally just... This is already 28 minutes I've just been blabbering about this, but I was just thinking about this, and I was just going through, and I was just like... I'm like looking at my teams. I'm looking at Tribe Tower, and I'm looking at where the most investment has gone and what's progressed the farthest. And Tetra and Missilis are lagging behind Elysian and Pilgrim. Just because they don't have, you know, as many meta units, and I haven't invested as much into it. And then that got me thinking, well, what has actually come out? Like, what is being done with those particular sets of Nikkes? And it's like, you just notice, it's like Missilis is just falling off a cliff. Tetra's kind of climbing, you know, its way somewhere in between, you know, Missilis and Elysian is just way out in front. For no reason, other than, like, I don't know, it's just like, is Elysian just snowballing? Like, they put out one and then they're just like, hey, Elysian's making us money, Elysian's getting, you know, popular input in the story and popular support by our commanders play the game, so we're just gonna keep making more Elysian Nikkes. Is that it? It reminds me of like when you if you like, because if you're gonna run ads on Facebook, right, and you have different creatives and different ad copy, and you know, basically you have multiple different ads on Facebook, and you're gonna run your ads to see which ad makes you the most money. Let's say you run 3 different ads, okay, and one ad just doesn't do well. It's the first one to get turned off. It doesn't get much spend. You have another ad that kind of does okay, so you keep kind of testing it and seeing if it's going to perform better. And then you have your, then your other ones, and then you have your top performer. So what do? You put more money into more resources into the top performer. You let it run, and it gives you the best return. Then you have your other one, which is kind of in the middle, and you just keep testing different things, seeing if you can get some better performance than your top ad. And then you have your other one that just gets neglected, shut off, no resources, because that's a very simplified explanation, but it makes me wonder, is that what they've done with the 3 different companies? Have they just kind of realized that people aren't interested in Missilis Nikkes and they just don't put any effort into it? And then they see, okay, there's sometimes we get some good hits with Tetra, so we're going to keep, testing Tetra, but they know Elysian is their moneymaker, their powerhouse, and that everyone loves Elysian Nikkes, so they just keep producing more Elysian Nikkes. Is that what's happening here? That's what it feels like is happening. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was just the way that the game developed. Like, they just needed, like, they had their fighting Nikkes, they had their entertainment Nikkes, or, like Maid Cafe, the bunnies, and all that stuff was all Tetra, because, it's all the entertainment stuff. And then you just had all the utility Nikkes, and the utility Nikkes just got kind of, like, neglected. Right? And then the ones that were powerful, right, are just, they're lovable, but they're also kind of goofy, right? They're not like the serious, like you look at Laplace and Drake and Maxwell. They're 2 goofballs and kind of a goofball, right? Which is great. Like, I love that. Personally, some of my favorite Nikkes and some of my favorite story comes from Missilis, which is even more frustrating. It's even more frustrating. Like, I think I'm not gonna start with Crow, but I'm gonna start up here. Okay, let's just start with Mihara. Mihara's story was amazing. Okay, and Uni and Mihara, I really hope they further develop that. I'm thrilled that Mihara got a unit and she's relatively meta and she's good. What's the deal with Uni though? Are we just throwing her out now? She's just like I would love to see Uni get kind of a redemption arc and a rebuild, and to see her come back. That would be awesome to me. Like, I feel like, and then you've got Sin, you've got Guilty. Quincy already kind of got her unit, but like, we could have some redemption arcs here, right? Mori's sounds like she's gonna get that. That's cool. I hope it's awesome. But let's get that for Uni. Let's get that for Sin. Let's get that for Guilty. What about Crow? Why not make another unit for Crow that is actually that's like likable? And she doesn't have to have like this whole change of heart and become, from bad side to good side. It doesn't have to be like something weird. No, I shouldn't say weird, but something like, as kind of, I guess, dramatic as that, right? You could still have like her edginess with Crow, but just have her like be like a really cool unit that has a good story. It's tied in, and she's just better, right? I mean, you could do a treasure item too, but I'm just thinking like there's still opportunity. You don't have to like completely remake a Nikke to make a unit and make it better. And I would say the same thing about Epinal. Like, she has a cool design. She's a skateboard Nikke. Like, why not put more into this and give her... I mean, they did what they did with Soline. Like, Soline, similar kind of character. Maybe not in personality, but similar build, similar amount of tension. I shouldn't even say that. Epinal's gotten like barely, like this basically zero attention, right? But I mean, they even kind of like got the same hair color, and like, look what they did with Soline. Why can't they do that with Epinal? I think honestly, Epinal is cooler. I mean, look at her. Look at their jacket. It's just like they put so much more into Jackal because Jackal's got a stronger personality. But have they even made a new unit for Jackal? No. What have we gotten for Jackal? We've gotten like what, one? We've gotten one new costume. Or skin, I should say. And what do? They put her in a school uniform. All these Nikkes going to school. All the Missilis Nikkes going to school. Right? Ein, school. Jackal. Sent the dog to school. Doggo went to school, right? I shouldn't say all, but I mean, you get what I'm saying. Like, where's the other? I mean, there's just the. I feel like there's. Like, you've got to either create opportunity with what you've already built with some of these. And like Nagatia, what are they doing? Why would they not create a, like, I did it with Mast and Anchor. Why not Nagatia? I mean, even with Tetra, like, let's just go back to Tetra. They could do Blanc Noir, brand new units, Blanc Noir. I mean, these are so popular. Why would they not? They did it with Privity. Look at Privity. Privity, where is Privity? Is Privity Elysian? She's got to be Elysian, yeah. Privity has a maid unit, a gotcha skin, and a treasured item. And I feel like Blanc Noir are more popular than Privity. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll get a lot of pushback on that or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But like, some of this stuff I just don't get. I don't get. Maybe it's because it's not supposed to be balanced. Maybe the game isn't supposed to be balanced in what characters they put in each of these factions, or, you know, in each of the with each of the companies or the CEOs. Maybe it's not supposed to be. But when you have a tribe tower where you're trying to level up,
pierce through,
right? And you're trying to get as far as you can, you're really limited, right? So let's see, where am I at? So so just full disclosure, I don't invest into units for the sole purpose of trying to get farther in the tribe tower stuff. To me, it's just not worth my time. I invested heavily into a core team to get as far as I could in normal mode to get through the story. And I basically blew through 40 chapters in 6 months by doing that. And then I just did story mode for like chapter 41, 42, quickly caught up. And now I just, you know, I don't need to do any of that. Like, I could just go through normal mode as each chapter releases and I'm just caught up. It's, you know, it's fine. So I've been investing into PvP because PvP I actually find to be interesting. It uses, what I love about PvP is that we use units that otherwise would be totally neglected. Like units that don't have any home anywhere else, they have a home in PvP. And so I like that because I can actually use those units and it makes them viable. But with the tribe tower, look at this. Pilgrim, I'm at 259. That was probably because for a while I didn't, I think for a couple months when I first started playing, I wasn't doing this tribe tower stuff. But Elysian, look how far ahead Elysian is. 337. And it also probably was because I didn't pull a lot of the pilgrims I needed to progress. I think I did get stuck because I didn't have Crown for like 6 months. I didn't pull Crown until the 3rd Annie and I started at the 2.5. So, but I had invested into my Elysian units to go through the main story primarily. It was basically Rappy Red Hood, Mast, Maid, and Anchor. Or Maid, Mast, Maid, Anchor. They're all Elysian. Treasure Helm, Elysian. And then Siren was my one pilgrim, right? So 4 out of my 5 main team was, you know, getting through in story mode for 6 months was Elysian because they have the best units other than pilgrims. And so they got a bunch of investment. I put barely anything into a Missilis or Tetra because I didn't need to. But now when I'm looking at this, I keep getting stuck in Missilis and Tetra because of where do I want to invest in what's important. I want to invest in PvP right now. So the other thing though is like there's so many more options for the Elysian Tower if you're going to build your team. And there's just less options, I feel like, obviously for Missilis, a little bit more for Tetra, but I'm kind of talking in circles at this point, but I think, you know, you guys get the idea of what I'm saying. The whole point of this video is just really like, what is the deal with Missilis? And when are we going to see some love for Missilis? That's probably one of the biggest gaps I see in the game right now. Now, overall, don't get me wrong, Nikke is the best freaking story that I've ever gone through. Nikke gameplay is just Nikke gameplay, right? It's not bad. It's not like the best game I've ever played in terms of the actual gameplay. But the story is. The story is the best story, one of the best stories I've ever experienced. And I'm not talking about like right now, for example, the
Connection complete.
This one right here. What are we calling it? 2x2 love or something? This is great. I think this is good. There's a bunch of drama about something related to this recently. It seems like it only came from the US. I don't know what it was about, so I ignore all that stuff because it seems so pointless. But this event, these kind of events, I think they'd be way better if they voiced in like the whole event. I think all of their side events should be fully voiced. I would love to see that, and I think the only reason they don't is because of they want to, I don't know, save money. But I don't get like, so for example, on this channel when I create content, I love doing the content, basically just my reaction to the main story because it's fully voiced. I can just go through it and react to it and just record, and just talk whatever my thoughts are, like I'm doing right now. But with these, in order to even do that, you have to read out all the lines. Now, in this event, they actually added more of the voicing to it, which is great because Kira Buckland does a great job with Privity, and then I can't remember Arcana's VA's name, but it was great to hear Arcana because Arcana was originally, I think her original event, Fortune Teller or whatever it was not voiced. So it's really cool to see, or to hear rather, her voice in the event. But when I'm trying to record content for stuff like this, if I wanted to, which I have done, it's difficult because I don't like to sit there and talk and read the whole thing the whole way through. I really don't like talking out the story. I want to hear the voice actors act out and voice the lines and react to that, because that is way more powerful, and I don't really understand why they don't do that with Nikke. I'm guessing it's just a money thing, but I think that it'd be way easier to create content if they actually did that. I'm just talking about other stuff now because I've already talked about Missilis. But I think we'll see what happens. I think the units, I think that let's just talk third Annie. Sorry, 3.5 Annie. Let's talk 3.5 Annie. What units we think we're going to see? I think probably it could be Anise or Neon. It could be Hansel Gretel. It could be the Four Beasts. Could be a new upgraded version of Mori like we talked about. Who else has a shot? I mean, it could be Rapunzel, it could be Scarlet, it could be Noah, just based off of Goddess Fall. It could be Marion, it could be Liberalia. I'm just thinking of all the different possibilities. I've already named 10, and out of all those 10, one of them is a Missilis unit. So there's hope there, but is that Missilis unit going to be a main unit? No, because for Annie's, universally, usually they are pilgrims or overspecs, which they should be. So I almost hope that Mori isn't introduced as a pullable unit in 3.5 Annie, because if she is, she would probably be like a tertiary unit, like a third one, and maybe not be that strong. And I don't want that for Mori. Like, we don't need more weak units. If you look at Nikke GG, right, and you look at the tier list, they need to start looking at the units that are rated like E and D, or even C, and like I said, bump them up 2 levels with either treasure items or, well, no, it should be universally just treasure items. That's just what they should do. But they should be looking at those units Because what did they say? What did the devs say last year? The devs said they wanted to spend more time on the current characters and developing the story, right? Rather than just introducing a bunch of new Nikkes. Okay, so EH was new, but related to the story, so I guess that's fine. Velvet, current character. Okay, they introduce her character finally. Or make her pullable. That's fine. Label is new. So, and Label, I guess, completes, you know, a squad. So maybe that's why they thought she was kind of a necessary addition. Sure. And how far are we into the year? We're coming up on the first quarter, ending of first quarter of the year. So we've got 3 more quarters of the year, you know, to kind of hopefully see some new units from Missilis. Another thing is they're talking about, and Sky did a really good video kind of talking about this, and he was talking about the rocks. I hope that we get an increase in the number of rocks, right? So it was like if they can allow us to get, and this was from Sky, this is not from me, but he was saying if we can get 175 per month rocks on average, custom modules, then you'd be able to kind of fully upgrade a Nikke and their overload gear once a month. So that's like 12 a year, right? How many Nikkes have I really done that with? I don't know if I put 175 rocks into really any unit. I'm not sure. I'd have to look at it, but the ones that I've at least played around with are, let's see, how many have I gotten? 1, 2, and these are not full. Like, I think his definition of like fully trying to upgrade is like you get all 12 slots filled with what you want, and then you work on the percentages. I definitely haven't done that with barely, like, I don't think there's any Nikke I have that I've fully done that with. So, but the ones I've just pushed some resources into is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe 10, 11. I don't even know if I've done Red Hood. Kind of. I guess we could say 12. 13. 13? Maybe 14? And if you basically divide that in half, because like a lot of these, it's kind of like halfway done. So let's say I've got like 6 Nikkes worth of investment across a year. I mean, if you're gonna fully build out 6 Nikkes a year, how many Nikkes do you have, and how many would you want to have fully invested? Like, I think it would be better if they sped that up, right? Because I would love to use more Nikkes rather than less. The rate at which they're producing new Nikkes to pull is far outracing the rate at which we can actually upgrade them. And this is just coming from a player who's not been a day one player, right? I didn't start day one. One of my good friends was begging me to get into Nikke for a long time, and I finally got into it, and that was 2.5 Annie. But, you know, if I had started earlier, I would have more investment, obviously. For the people that have been around it since day one, they probably have, you know, way more investment because it's just longer time in the game. But especially for new players, and, you know, that's part of how Shift Up generates their revenue, they want more investment, or sorry, they want more players getting involved in the game and playing. But if you get involved in the game and you just see that it's kind of overwhelming with the amount of different units there are and what you can realistically put resources into upgrading, and you like, it just takes a long time to being able to like fully play competitively with some of these units. I think there's kind of like a wall that players are going to hit, right? And for me, all that I cared about right now, or not right now, all that I cared about when I was first starting playing was getting through the story. So I invested heavily into like 5 or 6 units. And that got me through, you know, like I said, 40 chapters and then beyond. But now they've got story mode. So what does that mean? That means that there's no investment required. So then what are players going to play the game to actually enjoy the play? Well, what have you got left? You've got solo raids, you've got union raids, and you've got PvP. and that's basically it. If you're not really playing for story, which I think people should play through the story, I play through hard mode as well, but if you're not doing that, you're primarily upgrading units for PvP and the raids. And what do you need to do well in the raids and PvP? What do you need to actually perform well? You need to have invested in a lot of different units, and that's what makes the game interesting to me. What makes it interesting beyond the story is being able to come up with and learn the characters' abilities and how they interact as teams against certain bosses in different environments, and then try to get the best scores possible, or to outsmart and outwit and outperform your opponents in PvP with your favorite Nikkes. That's, I think, what's interesting. And what holds that back, what holds new players especially from being able to do that, is being able to invest in them. And like Sky was saying, what Nikke cares about at the end of the day is how much whales are going to keep paying, right, to fund the company. Because that's where they make their money. They make their money off of whales, and they make their money off of the skins. So skins are great, but if the whales stop buying because they can get enough investment from, you know, the actual game itself, then they're not going to make it easier on new players. And then the thing is that what the problem that creates is then you are lengthening the time horizon for which the game actually becomes enjoyable to players. Once they've gotten past, like, okay, I love the story, what's next? What's keeping me around, right? What's keeping them around other than the story is the game, you know, should be the gameplay, right? But it's not going to happen if they can't invest. Like, I would love to be able to build more teams, build better teams, to do other things, because I don't even care that much about solo raids and union raids, because I can't even really compete in them. I don't put much time into them. I just do it, I do the best I can, and then I get my rewards. But do I think too much about the teams, the team comps? Do I think about all that stuff, how it's going to, you know, get me the highest score possible? Not really at all. And I don't think a lot of people do, other than people who, you know, are maybe whaling, or, you know, or dolphins, or whatever you want to call it, that are spending some money on the game in order to get enough investment in order to be able to actually get to that point. Right? And that's what a gacha game is, right? Okay, I get that. But there's a reason I don't really, quote unquote, play that side of the game. There's an entire side of the game I don't play. And this was also true of PvP. Because it's like I could only play one part of the game at a time. And that's a resource issue. That is strictly a resource issue. It's not because I didn't know how. I mean, you can literally just read what the characters do and look up tutorials on, you know, team compositions, whatever you want to do, right? It's a matter of investment. And the game just doesn't supply enough to be able to play the game. It's like, here, they're like putting the game before you and saying, what do you want to play? You can't choose, and you can't play it all. You can't play everything. If you want to do well, you have to do one area at a time. And that's what I did. I only invested into story mode and improving a team to get me through story, because that was the most important thing to me. And now all I can do is focus on PvP, because that's the next most interesting thing. And I can't really competitively play solo raid or union raid in a way that seems meaningful to me, because I don't have investments in all those different units. And what's interesting is I talk to a lot of players that are not that far in the story, and the most common thing is, what I hear from them is, you know, when I tell them how I did it, because people, they ask, like, okay, how did you get through, you know, 40 chapters in 6 months? Well, I invested everything into one team. It's like, oh, yeah, no, I don't do that. What I do is I find myself constantly trying to invest in a lot of characters that I like and I want to play with, but then I don't get very, you know, they'll say they don't get very far in the story because they've spread their resources out very thin. Well, why have they done that? Because they actually want to play those characters. And basically you have to sacrifice either, like, do you play the characters you like, or do you play the parts of the game that you like? If you like solo raid, you have to focus on building your teams for solo raid. You have to have your shotgun team. You have to have this and that, right? You have to have certain characters built up to even play it properly. And that's a lot of investment in a lot of different characters, which is going to thin out, you know, your main team for story mode. And it's a completely set of different characters for the most part for PvP. So this is another issue, right? And it ties in. The reason I'm talking about this is all this other stuff as well is because it all ties in to what we see happening with Missilis, right? The gameplay itself becomes lopsided due to investment that has to come from the player base, and then Shift Up is investing lopsided as well in what characters they actually release and the speed at which they release them compared to the resources we actually get. So number one is that too much investment's going into Elysian, not enough investment in new characters and strengthening older characters. Not enough of that investment is coming in from Shift Up into Tetra and especially Missilis. It's all going into Pilgrims and Overspecs and Elysian for the most part. That's what we're seeing. And at the same time, Shift Up does not give the players enough resources to play the characters they want to play, especially new people, new commanders. From the player's side, that forces the players then to have to choose what part of the game they want to play. And a lot of players may not even understand that that's a concept when they first get into it. They're just throwing stuff into characters that they like and just playing those characters suboptimally until they kind of figure out, you know, how it works. Or they're holding back resources because they don't want to make mistakes. And that's why you see these accounts where they have tons of resources built up and they don't do anything with it because they don't know what they're doing. Which that just comes down to experience, right? You just have to learn kind of how the game works. But basically players, based on, you know, Shift Up does their, what I just explained, that's what Shift Up does. And the players then, they have to choose what part of the game they want to play. And you can only choose one at a time. Otherwise you can do one at a time good, or you can do all of them at the same time kind of poorly, because players don't have enough to invest in the characters they want to play and to actually invest equally into all the different game modes to play, you know, all of them at the same time in a way that is enjoyable, or at least to even be competitive. And so there has to be a middle ground, right? There has to be a balance, in my opinion. But, you know, it all comes down to money at the end of the day. That's the truth of it. It all comes down to Shift Up. They need to make money. They want to make more money. And they're looking at, okay, how can we do that? You know, we release popular characters from popular, you know, company, you know, from Elysian or, you know, Pilgrims or whatever. And, you know, Shift Up makes changes over time to the game when there's a lot of pushback, but after almost a full year of playing Nikke, this is kind of like my core critique of the game. Almost a full year into it, we're coming up on 3.5 Annie. This is what I'm seeing, is these kind of unbalanced aspects of the game, and that's, to me, that's what pulls it down, because I tell everyone how much I love this game. This is the probably best story that I've ever experienced across anime, across movies, across television, across books. This is the best story I've experienced. It's drawn the most emotion, and my heart is deeply in this game. I love this game, but the game itself and the gameplay is very lopsided in my opinion. And I think it's mainly due to Shift Up optimizing, like I said, for what is going to make them the most money, and I think that they need to balance things out somehow. Anyways, let me know your guys' thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. I could be completely wrong, but I think that from my experience as a, you know, coming up on 1 year, that's the way that I see it, and that's what I'd like to see kind of shift, if possible. All right, guys, it's 2 a.m. I gotta go to bed. Peace.